Check 1 2. I said check 1 2. We are live, or at least I hope we are. Hi again. It's been a bit, hasn't it? The last time I uploaded anything was around the April-May time frame, and then I disappeared for a while. And you guys are probably wondering where I've been, if there are any of you left. Well, I guess that's what I'm here on to talk about. So, I guess let's start at the beginning. Where have I been? Or, I guess, why did I start creating videos in the first place? I put out like 4 or 5 videos and a bunch of shorts. So, this is not my first YouTube channel. Hell, I've got a few more hidden in the background. But, yeah, I've always been interested in doing YouTube, but it's always the time and effort and school and work that always got in the way. And I was just, I couldn't manage it all, and YouTube was always the first thing to drop. And then I get excited on a new project, or I'm like, hey, what if I create this type of YouTube channel or this type of YouTube channel? Because I have so many different interests. And so I was like, hey, I'm into memes and I'm into chess. Let's give it one more go. And so that's why I created Enoch the Pumpkin. And actually, if you realize with Enoch the Pumpkin, I started creating memes back in like November, December, and then fell off until like March, April, where I came back, added some chess content with the Road to 1,000 Elo series. And I haven't forgotten about that series, but it's in the back burner. I think I've recorded a video that I started editing back in the springtime, and I've never actually got it published. And so hopefully that video will see the light today. Hopefully I will get the Race to 1,000 Elo series back up and running. But right now, I don't know. So I guess I should say where I've been. So once I've created the videos, I kind of entered one of the worst times of my life. It was rough. Work got busy, relationships fell apart in my personal life, and so just dealing with that, I couldn't continue YouTube at that time, and so I took a break, and now the summertime sadness is over. Cue Lana Del Rey. I feel like I want to start getting back into making videos, or at least maybe start live streaming, because it seems like if I just talk for who knows how long, maybe someone will listen. And so, yeah, that's where I've been. The summertime has been hell on earth, but it's also been blessing me with some good things in my personal life as well. So, the grass is greener. Depends on how you view things. The cup is always full, whether that be full of water or full of air. Unless you put the cup in a vacuum chamber, and then it is no longer full. You've just got it to complete vacuum. Also, you're probably wondering why you've got the Bitcoin price up on screen right now. And I just had no idea what else to put up there. I was just like, hey, everyone's got low attention spans right now. Why not, have something that triggers your monkey brain? So a Bitcoin ticker price, because you get to see the numbers change in real life as I am recording, or not recording, as I am live streaming now. So Bitcoin's at like $114,000 dollars per Bitcoin. So if anybody's holding Bitcoin, it's a good day today so far. I'm not too crazy into crypto. I own some Bitcoin, I own some Ethereum, and then own a couple other smaller coins, but crypto's never been my mainstay. It's just something fun to watch, especially now that it's the weekends and the markets are closed. You get to just watch the Bitcoin price tick up and down. And so the next bullet on the agenda that I have for today is, hey, now that you're gone, what's the future of this channel look like? And the future of this channel is, I don't know. maybe it does include a lot of live streaming. I feel like I've already said that. I think it does include a lot of live streaming. I want to start getting better at this, and I feel like I have like 2, 3, 4 hour phone call conversations with my closest buddies, and they always tend to, give me life, give me some rejuvenation. And I feel like just talking and talking helps. And so I was like, why not just do that for an audience? There might be some semblance in thought process put into these live streams moving forward, but right now it's just kind of me getting my thoughts off my head. And so, yeah, I think more live streaming is going to come in the future. Maybe I will go back. I'm not going to say maybe. I will definitively upload a YouTube video, hopefully by the end of the calendar year, but that is fast approaching, and I have so many plans coming up. So maybe a YouTube video by the end of the calendar year, and obviously some more shorts. I don't know if I'm going to go back to the meme shorts format, because I was interested in memes, but, it's entertaining to, like, just open Reddit, open up dank memes and just get a good chuckle on, a few memes. Watching a meme video, I don't know if that has the same appeal. I know some meme channels are incredibly successful when they do that, but I don't know, maybe I might not go back to that format. We'll see. If you guys, like, spam the chat, maybe I'll go back to adding more meme videos. And then, yeah, obviously, let's see, what else? So I did briefly touch upon what the remainder of the year has for me. I've actually started getting into running, or getting back into running. Goodness. Before, I want to say, like, New Year's time, I started running, like, a 5K before work. Maybe, like, once or twice a week. And then March came around and that fell off completely. And then back in August, a buddy of mine messaged me with like 12 hours notice saying, hey, you want to run a 5K? And I'm like, man, I am out of practice, but I still showed up, ran it in like 38 minutes, which I was proud of. And, now me and my buddy are going to start running more and more often and potentially doing a marathon. Doing a marathon. That still doesn't register in my mind as like a real thing that has a potential of happening. Because obviously, I've never been a runner in my life. I've been very sedentary. Sports have never been my forte, to say the least. But, we'll see if I actually do the marathon or how well I will do the marathon. Also, we also talked about doing an Ironman not back in April, in the upcoming April. I don't even know how to swim. So I can't even imagine doing an Ironman. Hell, the thought of running a marathon is daunting enough. So we shall see if those two things come into fruition. But I already know I've got a 5K scheduled next week. Yeah, in the next week. So that's exciting coming up. Getting back into that. Still continuing to play soccer on the weekends. Just keeping myself fit. As I've said, I'm not a very athletic guy, but the sport of choice that I play is soccer, or football, as the rest of the world calls it. Hell, I called it football growing up, but then living in Yankee Doodle land for a bit too long makes me call it soccer. So here we are. Yeah, just playing on the weekends. Nothing too crazy. Oh, man, I still remember last weekend, I mean yesterday, goodness. I had 2 gilt-edged chances right at the end of the game. One across from the right-hand side, and just stuck out a toe, didn't make contact. And the second one was a header that just missed. Like, I didn't get contact on the ball, just missed, skimmed the top of my head. But 2 gilt-edged chances at playing soccer. But I don't know if you guys are very interested in my football soccer life. Let's see, what else have I been doing while I'm out? Oh, I took a trip out to eastern Tennessee, out in the Great Smoky Mountains. So got to enjoy the great mountain air, and that was always fascinating. Just being in a cabin in the woods, looking over and seeing the little wisps of clouds form between the trees, and the wisps of clouds were always a unique phenomenon because it's like a cloud inversion, and it has something to do with the dew point in the mountains. If anyone knows or has more details, I would be very interested to know, the physics and behind the cloud inversions in the Smoky Mountains. But it's a beautiful time, and it was still quite toasty out there. I was expecting more autumnal weather, especially as we're getting into October, but the leaves were still heavily green. The temperatures were warm, like 71, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Toasty, way too toasty. So, you know, I'm looking forward to getting some cold weather, but I doubt it. I doubt that the weather is going to cool off in any way, shape, or form into this winter. Last winter was quite cold, especially like near the tail end of January. But I don't know. I'm expecting this year to be a warm winter. I think the El Nino effect is going on. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's going on, so that means we have a warmer winter ahead. And I know a lot of people in this area are going to be like, whoa, warm winter. I'm like, God, I like the cold, so the toasty winter is not my specialty. Let's see. And then a couple things that I have been doing while I've been out is I've been getting back, I say getting back into reading. I read a lot at the end of last calendar year, so end of 24. I read The Tempest and King Lear by William Shakespeare, which both phenomenal plays. The King Lear more so, because I feel like the depth of characters in King Lear's was exceptional. Gloucester is incredibly like my favorite character. Probably in the entire Shakespearean canon, Gloucester has to be up there. The metaphor of him, having his eyes and being blind to what's around him and then getting his eyes gouged out, and then him having that like aha moment and the visibility of sight. It's beautifully written. So, yes, Gloucester up there. One of my favorite characters, Shakespearean characters of all time. What else did I read at the end of last calendar year? Oh, I read the Oscar Wilde book, Picture of Dorian Gray, and that book was incredible. Just you see Dorian's descent into excess, not necessarily a descent into madness, but he takes his beauty and his aesthetic to, I don't want to say an otherworldly place, but he abuses his beauty and aesthetic. The wish that he always had and the picture that haunts him shows that his depravity ruins his exterior beauty. And you just see the little wrinkles and the scars forming on Dorian in the picture. And so at the end, spoiler alert if you haven't read it, the book's a bit, like 200 years old, so you might want to get a move on if you haven't read it. But yeah, at the end, he like reveals the picture and stabs the picture kind of as a stabbing of his own self, which, everyone finds out he kills himself. Because he stabs the picture, and the picture is the actual reflection of his actions. And so I find that story very poetic and very beautiful in terms of the actions you do really determine your beauty. I think the terms like physiognomy, how you look. Goodness. It's like how you look aesthetically shows you the quality of your character. And I know physiognomy is not perfect by any stance, right? You don't judge a book by its cover. That all the axiom has truth, and that it has a substantial amount of truth. You really can't know something to a great deal by just judging it on a surface level. But I will say, aesthetic wise, there's a lot of information you can garner about someone's character and quality by the way they present themselves and their aesthetic choices that they make. And so, you have the two differing views of the world of don't judge a book by its cover, and then the Dorian Gray view of, the acts that you do garner affect how you look. Even though he never actually physically shows that in his character in the book, it's always in the painting. But the acts you do actually reflect outwardly. So I feel like both have some truth to them. I might just be talking nonsense and waffle, but that's what you're here for. Some nonsense, some good nonsense, and some good waffle. Nothing more better than a good waffle on a Sunday morning. And so those are the books that I read last year. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I've read any. Oh, yes, I have. I've read Spring Snow last year by Yukio Mishima, and my God, that was incredible. Incredible read. Yeah, I have no words on how to say how glorious this book was. Basically, it shows kind of a time capsule of Japan as they are moving out of the old traditional samurai period, the old imperial Japan guard into the new modern world. And as they're still holding on to some of these older customs, and the story is told from the perspective of like a young noble guy. I think he's a prince, if I'm not mistaken, in the book. But he's not a prince. He is a high noble dignitary, and they still have the old Japanese customs and traditions of marriage and things of that nature. And this young kid is learning how to navigate his love life through that. And my God, it's beautiful. I don't even think my little summary synopsis does it any justice in the slightest. But yes, if you have not read Spring Snow, highly, 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 I don't think I can say the word highly more, highly recommend. It's beautiful in every sense of the word. So yeah, those are the books that I got to read at the tail end of last year, and I think I did a really, really good job of sticking to that habit of reading. But this year it's completely gone. I think I've only read one book to completion this year, and that was the Ton, or the Tanbo Kulange. Oh goodness, excuse my Irish. I haven't spoken the language at all. I have Duolingo's given me a little bit of fluency in Irish, but other than that, nothing. Didn't grow up with the language, just, always saw it on signboards, but never actually learned the language. So, but yes, the Ton, I wasn't the biggest fan of the book. Maybe it's just a, time period mythos kind of read. Maybe it was even the translation that I got. But it was incredibly repetitive to the point where it didn't provide anything interesting. It's more of this one clan in Ireland wants the bull from the Ulstermen, and this guy, oh man, I'm gonna forget his name. Oh God, I had completely forgot the main hero's name. It's gonna come to me. I know it. I'm so annoyed. But the main hero basically just fights and kills everybody over and over and over again. Has no hardship, in defeating everybody because he is like the bee's knees. And then as you get to the end of the story, he has one of his, I don't want to say like loyal friends, but I'm going to say his loyal friends. He has someone who like he grew up with, basically takes the Queen Maeve like challenge to defeat him, um, and he ultimately loses. But that was the biggest challenge the main hero had to face. And I was just like, this book seems incredibly repetitive. And like when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I like this little bit of alliteration going on in the book. I like the parallelism in terms of structure and sequence that the book provided. But after that, it got repetitive. It got annoying, to say the least. So I was not a big fan of that. Yeah, I thought I would enjoy the book more because it's, Irish mythos, and I've always been a fan of that. But yeah, just this one just did not hit the right nerve for me. And then, so that's the only book I've actually finished this year. It's funny because I actually bought it in a little bookshop in Killarney when I was out in Killarney in January. So shout out to that little bookstore. Goodness, I don't even know what it's called. I was just walking in Killarney town, and I saw the bookshop. I went in, and I was like, "Ooh, I wanted to read this," so I picked it up. So yeah, that was the first book I read this year, or the only book I fully read this year. And the second book that I'm like 90% of the way through is a book called Light by M. John Harrison. And I don't want to say I've been raving about the book or anything, but I have like heard so many fantastic reviews of it as a thrilling sci-fi novel. Even on the cover page, it's got like a little quote from Neil Gaiman, of all people, who said it's like the best sci-fi book in decades. And sure, it's got bits and elements of sci-fi, but I don't know. Oh, goodness. I don't know. The levels of smut in this book is way too much than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more focused on the sci-fi side of the story, but no, it feels a lot more in the sexual vein. It feels like those books that, you'd get on Wattpad to some extent. It feels like, 50 Shades of Grey meets sci-fi. It's, I don't know, maybe it's a bit too much. Maybe I'm just not a fan of that kind of writing. But yeah, just kind of going through the book, it's been a very much, the book has been very much a pick up, put down, 2 weeks later, pick it up again, put it down. It never kept my attention, or it never has kept my attention. And so I'm still determined to finish it because I still feel like I want to give this book a chance in order to judge it accurately. But man, I am not a fan. There was one passage that I sent to one of my friends, and they said, "Oh my God, that's so tame." I was like, "That's tame? Well, that is all right. I don't know what you're reading, man." But yeah, that was a surprise, to say the least. I was not expecting that passage to be considered tame. Do I actually? Ooh, hello. Do I actually want to read said passage? You know what? It might be entertaining. Let's see if I find the passage again. So you'll have to give me a minute and just enjoy the Bitcoin numbers as they change up and down. If I was a text message, where would I be? Because I sent this to a friend like so long ago. I think like during the summer, at the end of July, I really made an effort to finish it, and it never actually did. Shows you my commitment to this book. I am back in the month of August. If you hear like the sound of a fighter jet, it's just my computer like absolutely boiling over. And that might just be the undertone of this entire stream because I need to get better cooling for my computer. I'm running this on like the shittiest, I don't want to say the shittiest gaming laptop you can imagine, but you know, a gaming laptop that's a couple years old. But yes, I have found the passage. So I'm gonna give like a little drum roll. And so here we go. It's on page 184 of the novel if you want to follow along. And so here is my best reading voice. She rolled against. Oh goodness, how did I fuck up already? She rolled against him. As soon as he touched her, she groaned and pulled away, raising her behind in the air and burying her face in the pillow while he manipulated her with one hand and himself with the other. At first she tried to join in, but he wouldn't let her touch him. Keep her at... Oh, God. He kept her at the edge of coming, breathing in great... I can't take this seriously, goodness. Breathing in great sobbing gasps, whimpering into the pillow between each breath. He watched her like this until watching her had made him so hard. Again, his cock hurt. Oh my God. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is a sci-fi book. I'll continue, just for closure. Finally, he brought her off with 2 or 3 quick circular rubs and let himself come onto the small of her back. Gorslin's had never seemed so close. He had never felt so in control. Engineering that, he supposed, was her way of feeling in control. With her face still in the pillow, she said, I really didn't mean to do that right up until I did it. Didn't you? Said Kearney. You've made me very sticky. Stay there, he ordered. Don't move, and fetched a tissue to wipe her dry. That was the passage I sent my friend. And that was the passage they considered tame. Yes. Wild scenes from a sci-fi book that I am trying to get done. And it got to the point where it was like in every single chapter. Like, that's fine to have in a book. But, every chapter? This is not what I was here to read. Not what I was here to read whatsoever. So that was one book that I want to get done. I actually started the year by cracking open the Federalist Papers, and so I've been slowly going through those. I think I'm like 20 papers in out of 80. Really interesting, but it can be a little tedious reading about government. So, hey ho, that's where we are. And then a couple other books that I have another book I have on my nightstand or just right next to me is East of Eden by John Steinbeck, and I still want to get to it. I have heard it's a phenomenal book. Everyone raves about it. Haven't read it. I'm looking forward to read it. It's got to be better than Light, or it has to be better than The Ton. I just need a good book this year. I felt like I haven't read a good book this year, which, fair. I've only completed one in the middle of a second, and both books are turning out to be duds. But yeah, if anybody has any recommendations on books to read, I'm very willing and very open to get those. So yeah, that's a bit about my life at the moment. I'm still playing chess, to be honest. I still kind of like the hyperbullet format. It's funny because 30 seconds, you're just on your feet. It's all instinct, which kind of makes it fun. But it kind of also, I feel like, ruins the game. I don't want to say ruins the game of chess, but ruins the spirit of chess. Because chess, you're kind of supposed to be thinking about the moves, having that little bit of intuition. And so I think that's like the big debate in like the chess community, whether, openings are considered in the spirit of chess, or playing chess without openings, without any opening prep, playing the orangutan and seeing where shit goes, is more in the spirit of chess. And I think, Fisher Random, like Bobby Fischer, was a big proponent of, getting rid of openings in its entirety. And I think I might agree with that. I think I like the Fisher Random format in terms of it gets rid of the memorization and kind of lets you think on your feet. It gets you to start thinking about the moves rather than just memorizing them brute force. And I like that. And that feels like the spirit of chess to me, where you're just always thinking about this in a game of infinite possibilities, but it makes things more dynamic and gives, your brain that little bit of extra energy to think on its feet. Not necessarily think on its feet, to problem solve. That's probably the better way of saying it. To actually problem solve, put itself out there and be like, yes, this is out of all the solutions that I thought of, this is the best move in this position. And I like that. I feel like that is more in the spirit of chess. And so that is my hot take of the day. Are there going to be any more hot takes? I have no clue. Honestly, I have no idea if I've got any more hot takes left. Let's see. I don't even know if the market's really changed that much ever since I've been talking. We're still at about 114,000 per Bitcoin per dollar, so $114,000 per Bitcoin. Let me say that correctly. So it looks like we've got little movement in the crypto markets, and I guess it's the dead cat bounce after the collapse of the markets on Friday with the announcement of the tariffs. I'm not a political channel. I'm interested in that stuff. I've always kind of been interested in that stuff, but it is what it is. That's the news of the day. And the markets tank when they talk about tariffs. Now, if tariffs work or not, I've got an opinion. Economists have an opinion, but we shall wait and see how this plays out. Because it seems like every major founding father has been a protectionist to an extent, and we see economies like Japan thrive under protectionism, but we also see the flaws that protectionism provides, especially in an integrated economy where you've got companies developing items offshore and sending them back to the United States, and so that's they're going to say, hey, it's worth the hit in prices because we can still save money by manufacturing outside of the U.S. And so it just raises the cost of goods for the people in the United States. That's the tariff argument. I didn't know I was going to be talking about tariffs today, but that's what it is. So we shall wait and see how this plays out. I think that's a spicier take than my chess take. And maybe it's not even a spicier take than my chess take because it was kind of a non-answer. I don't know. That's just how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, we've got a couple months till the end of the year. Half of October left. I can't believe we're already halfway through October, November, and December. And so I'm still aiming to close out some of my New Year's resolutions in terms of I've had a full list of, I don't even know how many, 30, 40, 50? No, it can't be like 50. It's probably like 30-ish New Year's resolutions that I made back in January. And a lot of them I have not met. A lot of them there's some that I have met, which I am happy to say that I have, and then some that are trending toward being met by the end of the calendar year. Um, that might be a fun stream to do once the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, the turn of the new year, I should say, when I take a look back and see if I've met my New Year's resolutions, because that would be a fun little stream to do. Another stream or another idea that I had or thought about, at the turn of the new year is one of the things that I wanted to do. I know this is one of the New Year's resolutions that I had for this calendar year, and that was to read 12 books in 12 months. I am going to fall significantly short of that unless I pick up the pace and just read basically a book a week till the end of the year. And I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to happen. Crazier things have happened, but I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe I'm being a negative Nancy, and maybe everyone in the chat's going to be like, no, you can do it. Here are the shortest books in the world. Hell, I've got a fucking Barbie book on my table. Long story, don't ask. And I can count that as a book that I've read this year. But I don't think I will. So yeah, I think that New Year's resolution for this year is going to be considered a failure. But maybe at the next year, we can try the 12 books in a year. And maybe we can do a little stream. Because I have an app on my phone that I've got a TBR on this app, and I can just hit a button and it will randomize the book that I should read next. And it'd be fun to have a little calendar open and see the randomize function and say, okay, I have to read this book a year. When in the year should I read it? And see how the chips may fall there. I think that's going to be kind of fun. I really think that would be a little fun stream. I know a lot of these streams are going to be. I don't really know how I want to do these streams to an extent, right? I just kind of want to talk, and I don't know if that's going to be entertaining enough. Maybe there needs to be some thought or concepts into these streams. I don't know. Maybe when the market actually comes alive, maybe do a trading stream. I don't know. Hell, I don't even think that's going to be exciting because my trading strategy is basically just buy, hold, and then sell eventually. But mostly it's buy, hold. I do dabble in the dark arts of options. If anybody wants to trust me on financial advice, don't. I have lost way too much money. Way too much money on options trading. So yeah. If you need the disclaimer that I am the person to follow for financial advice, I am not. I can tell you how to lose your money the fastest. So do not listen to me for any financial advice. So with that disclaimer out of the way, I've just been mostly buying and holding. So buying the S&P 500, that's my largest holding, and then holding a couple single stocks here and there like Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, things of that nature, and just buying them, holding them, especially after the dip. When I saw the dip, I just bought into a couple of those stocks and just held. Wall Street Bets has told me about Rocket Lab and QBTS, which is D-Wave Quantum, and I've held those, and those have been my best returning stocks so far. So, I'll take what I can get. But then Wall Street Bets also told me about SOC, which is Sable Offshore, and yeah, I've lost way too much money there. I've lost way too much money on Krispy Kreme. Kava was a fun one because I rode it all the way to the top, and now it's coming back down. So I'm I watched it rise and then I watched it fall. And so Kava was a journey. I don't want to say kava was a great investment or a bad investment. It might still turn out to be better in the future because I think kava still has room to expand. But maybe the Chipotle style AI slop, goodness, the Chipotle style slop bowls are falling out of favor, like how frozen yogurt fell out of favor in the mid 2010s. So maybe that's where Kava's kind of hitting its ceiling, where it marketed itself as like this Mediterranean Chipotle moving forward, but that Chipotle style of casual eating is done for. I don't know. That's maybe what awaits Kava in the future, but unless Kava has a way of pivoting, or the Chipotle style of eating still remains popular moving forward, is anyone's guess. In a way, I kind of expected Starbucks to. So I'm completely pivoting topics because Starbucks is on my mind. Everyone knows Starbucks is kind of a company in decline. When I say kind of a company in decline, I mean like significantly a company in decline. They were supposed to be this place where you go, sat down, drank a coffee, had your laptop, you had your free Wi-Fi, and you would sit and you'd work for hours. I want to say I did that. So when I first started working back a couple years ago, I think I went to a Starbucks, and I don't know why I did. I want to say I hadn't got an office yet, or I hadn't got my badge yet. So this was the transition time from COVID into in-person. So I started during that time. And when I got I didn't get a badge to get on. I didn't have my badge. And so I was just sitting in a Starbucks teleworking. I think I was actually sitting in a Domino's teleworking, and I just tied into the Starbucks Wi-Fi. But at any point, that's a completely different tangent that I don't know why I talked about. But, Starbucks was that selling point. And now, after COVID, people have kind of rejected that sit-down style because a lot of people are working from home and make their coffee at home. And now that people are going back into the office, they're so used to making coffee at home for cheaper and quicker, they don't necessarily need a Starbucks. Or they're going to have that Dutch Bros pivot, right? They go drive up to Dutch Bros, get the coffee, drive to work. And that's why I think Starbucks is kind of failing. But if you asked me 2019, 2018, I would have said Starbucks is here for the long haul. And, you probably wouldn't argue with me because it felt like they were a company with still so much growth potential. Every autumn was pumpkin spice season. Starbucks had that monopoly, and now it's kind of sad to see them. It's kind of sad to see them fail, but they're falling to the wayside, and in a way, it was truly deserved. I think the management at Starbucks did a pretty poor job, especially with the COVID pivot. So those are my opinions on stocks and stock markets and things of that nature. So let me reiterate, this is not financial advice. I am single-handedly the worst day trader or stock picker or whatever you want to call it. I lose money way, way too frequently to be good at this, to have any sort of reputable advice. So anything I say is probably bullshit. Goodness, how long have we been? Goodness, I cannot speak. What? 44 minutes? I've been talking straight. I'll take it. I'll give it a couple more minutes. Let's make this stream like an hour long. I'll talk for like 15 minutes. I might go up, grab a water, and then come back and just start yapping some more. So I'm back. I have brought my water with me so that my throat doesn't like eviscerate itself. Okay. Um so let's see. What else is there for me to talk about? I kind of talked about, why I started this channel, where am I planning to go, the hiatus that I took. Um yeah. I guess now that it's spooky season, Enoch the Pumpkin's back in fashion because uh, Over the Garden Wall is going to be watched religiously in this house. Oh, goodness. Watched religiously in this household because it is by far my favorite show of all time. So, hence why I named the channel after Enoch the Pumpkin because Townsville was one of my favorite episodes, and I love the concept of, the two kids going to a town where everyone are pumpkins, but potentially everyone's dead. Not Townsville, goodness, it's Pottsville Town, yes. They have the little song. And I think it's Pottersville is like a place where dead people are, or like a cemetery kind of vibe. And so I just love the macabre nature of that episode where they're thinking they're digging their own graves. And Enoch's just incredibly creepy. So it's an exceptionally put together episode. It's an exceptional show. If you haven't seen that show is like a decade old. It was funny because I watched the finale when the finale came out back in 2014, and I was like, damn, that's really good. Like, that finale is really good. And then I think it was like 2-3 years later, on Halloween again, I was like, you know what? I love this show. I love the finale that I watched, but like, I want to know the context of it. And I don't even remember the finale all that well. And so I sat down and I watched all 10 episodes all over again. And my God, is it spectacular. The first 5 episodes are very, I don't know, like silly, kind of campy, cartoony vibes. That's all I can say. They're very fun. They're very fun. And they kind of don't elicit a, higher narrative structure. And then episodes 6 through 10 is where you like dive into the story, dive into the world, dive into the characters, and this meshing of narrative comes into place. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully done. Like, the penultimate episode is like the flashback episode that sets up the finale, and chef's kiss. Because, you have the initial question of why are Greg and Wirt walking in this forest? And then by episode 2, 3, 4, 5, you're just like, all right, they're just kids lost in the woods trying to get home. And you just kind of accept it. And then episode 5 comes out with Quincy Endicott, if I remember correctly. And it tells a story of, 2 mansions that are accidentally connected. And I think that's a metaphor for the realm of the dead is accidentally connected to the realm of the alive. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, maybe my schizo brain's thinking about that a bit too much. But I think that episode has the shift in the narrative that the rest of the series goes on. So then, you realize, oh, these kids are in the state of death. They have died, but their souls haven't fully been compromised. They haven't been fully disintegrated into dust. And so that's why they come back to, life. In this mythical world, but the beast is the one that's there to take their souls, to send them into the eternal darkness. And so That's what they're trying to run away from, the beast in this in between world, in this purgatory, to get back into the real world, so they can get into a sense of being alive in the real world, or actually not even a sense of being alive, being physically alive. Their souls have reunited with their bodies. That's the goal of the show, and my God, it's spectacular. I think I've just like spoiled the entire show. So, whoops, spoiler alert. the Yes, highly recommend the show. I think I've dressed up as Wirt twice, 3 times. So you can tell I love that show beyond anything. And yeah, spooky season. I love it. Love the vibes. Love the energy. I've got my pumpkin, and I'm aiming to carve it at the end of this month. And so maybe that's going to be the new channel icon, because the old channel icon was a pumpkin that I carved based off one of the pumpkins in Over the Garden Wall. I didn't really do Enoch himself, because he's a much more complicated pumpkin, and my carving ability is not that elegant or up to that level. So this year I'm not planning to make it like an Over the Garden Wall carving of my pumpkin. I wish I kind of did, especially since it would fit the theme of this channel. But when I was out in Tennessee, North Carolina, that area of the country, I saw like these really cool pumpkin designs that they've done, and I was like, hey, let me try mimicking that, and potentially you'll see that. Maybe I might make it the new channel header, might make it the banner. I remember trying to fix the banner of the channel a while ago, like months ago, like back in April, May, and I never could get a good banner that would fit. And so, yeah, the channel banner is empty, but it seems like nobody's doing channel banners anymore anyways. I say that, but then, like, maybe I haven't been paying attention to channel banners on YouTube channels that I follow. And so, hey ho. Let's see. I guess, if there is a potential, yeah, I don't know. I'm I'm just saying words to fill the air. I don't have anything significant to talk about right now, unless my brain starts thinking of something to yap upon. But my yapping abilities can only get me so far. Um, okay, 114.6. I think that's the highest I've seen it through the stream when I've been paying attention. Um, so I think the crypto markets are moving in a positive direction. Whether if you're buying into Bitcoin or holding Bitcoin, that's a good sign. I guess it's better if you're holding Bitcoin. If you're buying into Bitcoin, you do want the market to tank, so you can get those sweet discount prices. But hey ho, I already gave my disclaimer about not knowing anything. Yeah, I've got 6 minutes. 6 minutes of yapping that I have to fulfill. It is my obligation now. I have committed to an hour stream, so I must do my duty and serve the hour stream. It sounds like I'm in jail when I say that. But no, I just committed to it, so I wanted to keep it in that vein, or at least keep it to the hour. I feel like an hour of a stream is entertaining enough. It's good enough that it's satiating enough to listen to my sweet voice for an hour. God, I feel... Honestly, I don't know how you guys do it, especially because I cannot listen to the sound of my voice. So yeah, I would only last like 5 minutes watching this live stream back. Yeah, my computer is like toasty up there. So you get to hear the word of the fans. I did mention quantum computing, especially since I'm holding some D-Wave quantum stock. Um, yeah, I think the technology behind quantum computing is interesting. The challenges of quantum computing is getting over that, low temperature hump, right? You need these, not not qubits, because qubits are the actual bits, but like the core, the processor, the quantum processor, I should say, has to operate at like ridiculously low temperatures, and I think that's the limiting factor. Because if you want to make quantum computing a household staple, you need to get rid of those incredibly low temperature. Um, yeah, you have to get rid of the insanely low temperature, or you have to find a way to drop to insanely low temperature without all the excessive hardware that it needs currently. So those are the two solutions behind quantum computing that I think makes it limiting, but I think the potential is there to, um, revolutionize the world. But you don't need me to say that. I think I was kind of an AI skeptic in terms of how profound the impact of AI would actually be. And it's proving me wrong over and over and over again. I find that I use ChatGPT for like almost anything nowadays. You know, plan a trip to X, design a workout program. Um, you know, if I am to run the marathon, how do I prep? I feel like AI is doing the Lord's work in that respect, and yeah, it continues to blow me away. I still don't think that we are close to an AGI, an artificial general intelligence. I think the LLMs have made a massive progress toward like this goal of AGI, but it seems like they're more memory recall machines from like information they gather from the computer. Um, so yeah, I'm interested to see how the LLMs develop. I know a lot of people are scared of AI. In a way, I kind of am, but I don't think I have the doomsdayer mentality. But again, AI proved me wrong before, so it might prove me wrong again when I say, oh, it's harmless. It might not be so harmless. Um, yeah, and I think like the argument on legislating AI before we open this Pandora's box is compelling, and I think that is something that probably we should start thinking about. But I also don't want to be the person that says, hey, we should start regulating this while the rest of the world opens up this Pandora's box. And as the rest of the world opens up this Pandora's box, we, are going to be left behind and not, be able to defend ourselves from that. And that's kind of, we use technology for war, fundamentally. Maybe that's like the American mindset that I have. But war has greatly improved technology. And, if you are in a technological class lower than your opponent, you're 99.99999% going to lose the battle or the war. And so it's imperative to stay up to date with said technology. But, yeah, I think we should also be very careful to tread this water. Even, a universal global agreement on being careful to tread this water should be something that we probably want to look into. But I don't know the answers. I've got 30 seconds before I hit the 1 hour mark. So I think I'm going to call it a happy first stream of many maybe. I do not know. But yeah, thank you so much for attending, listening. I know I did not have the greatest turnout in terms of audience, but hopefully aiming to grow this moving forward. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, effort, and patience. I say effort. It takes effort to watch the stream. What am I kidding? Thank you for your attention. That's the word that I probably want to use. And so I'm happy to continue yapping, and I look forward to seeing all of you very soon. All right. Thank you so much. Bye. Enjoy your Sunday.